This is a story of how my husband replaced me with his senior manager. Chapter 2. Behind Closed Doors. 2 weeks had passed, and Richard was still acting strangely. If anything, he had become even more unpredictable. Instead of leaving for work at 7 in the morning like he always had, he now walked out the door at exactly 5. "You're leaving awfully early," I asked one morning as I watched him grab his briefcase. He smiled while adjusting his tie. "The early bird gets the worm." It sounded harmless enough, so I simply nodded. I wanted to believe him. I needed to believe him. That afternoon, I decided to surprise him with lunch. Maybe I had been overthinking everything. Maybe work had simply been overwhelming lately. Maybe all we needed was a little more time together to get our marriage back on track. Before heading to Richard's office, I stopped by our children's school to check on them. As I walked through the school courtyard, a familiar voice called out, "Gina." I turned around and smiled. "Eloise. Hi." She hurried toward me, holding the hand of her young son. "Are you here to pick up the kids?" She asked. "Just checking in before I head somewhere else. What about you?" She sighed. "Anthony isn't feeling well. His teacher thinks he might have eaten something bad before school, so I'm taking him home. Lex will probably bring him to the hospital later. I hope it's nothing serious." Me too. Then it clicked. Eloise. I recognized her from last year's company gala. She was married to Lex, Richard's senior manager. "I'm sorry to hear that," I said sincerely. "I hope Anthony feels better soon." Thank you. Her son tugged gently on her sleeve. "Oh, there's Anthony." She waved as she started walking away. "See you soon, Gina." See you. Oh, and don't forget, I'll see you at the company dinner party next Saturday. I blinked. "The dinner party?" She looked surprised. "Richard didn't tell you?" Before I could answer, Anthony pulled at her hand again. "Oh, I have to go. See you next week." I forced a smile. "See you." As they disappeared through the school gate, my own smile slowly faded. A company dinner party? Richard never mentioned one, not once. The thought stayed with me the entire drive to his office. Maybe he had simply forgotten. Maybe he planned on telling me tonight. Maybe. But the more excuses I made for him, the less convincing they sounded. By the time I reached the building, my palms were damp with sweat. Why was I so nervous? Why did this feel wrong? Lost in thought, I wasn't paying attention to where I was going. Thud. My iced coffee flew from my hand, splashing across a dark gray suit. "Oh my gosh." I gasped. "I'm so sorry." The man looked down at his now coffee-stained jacket before looking back at me. For a split second, I thought he'd be furious. Instead, he laughed. "I've been called a lot of things," he said with a grin, "but this is the first time someone's mistaken me for a wall." I couldn't help but laugh. I wasn't looking where I was going. I can see that. I really am sorry. Let me pay for your dry cleaning. He pretended to think about it. Then a playful smile crossed his face. "How about you give me your number instead? That way I can let you know when I drop it off." I blinked. Really? I'm kidding. He chuckled before shrugging. "Well, unless you're serious." Despite everything weighing on my mind, I found myself smiling. "I suppose that's fair." We exchanged numbers. As I stepped into the elevator, he called after me. "Oh, and next time." I turned around. "I like my coffee black." I laughed and gave him a thumbs up. "I'll remember that." The elevator doors closed. For a brief moment, I forgot why I was there. Richard's floor was unusually quiet. Almost too quiet. Most of the cubicles were empty. No phones ringing. No conversations. No keyboards clicking. Just silence. Maybe everyone had gone to lunch. I walked toward Richard's office. The executive floor only had 2 large offices, his and the senior manager's. The hallway felt strangely deserted. I hesitated. Maybe I should just leave the lunch on his desk. Instead, curiosity got the better of me. I quietly pushed open the main office door. The reception area was empty. Beyond it stood another heavy wooden door leading to Richard's private office. I reached for the handle. Slowly, carefully, I pushed it open just enough to peek inside. Then my entire world stopped. Richard wasn't alone. Their faces were inches apart. Before my mind could even process what I was seeing, Richard leaned in. Their lips met. Neither of them pulled away. Neither of them hesitated. It's bad enough that my man is cheating on me, but with a guy no less. The guy he's with is his senior manager.